Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show. Joe Rayo wearing a white shirt, his old white News
No, it's a
12 shirt.
sweatshirt.
It's a News 12
It's a
sweatshirt?
sweatshirt.
Okay.
That's right.
Yes.
They can't stop me from wearing this.
No,
I can wear this whenever I want.
no, you can just keep the logo out of the shot. And he's Joe Rayo, and I'm Joe Chaffee, and welcome to another week in a miserable season that just won't go away. I think for a lot of folks, spring can't end soon enough. But while it is spring, you want to get your yard looking like it's, I don't know, something out of Buckingham Palace, maybe. And the Joe and Joe Weather Show is brought to you by the place that can help you do that, Omni True Value Hardware, 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in Southwest Suffolk County on Long Island. And they service the tri-state area with everything you need to make your yard look grand. And they have mulch, and they make it there. So you're paying lower prices than if you would if you bought it by the bag at some big box store. 631-756-1125, website omnitruevalue.com. And don't forget, they are a local business. And also brought to you by Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, also in Southwest Suffolk County on Long Island, also a local business. They are complete holiday lighting specialists to meet all your decorating needs, whether you're getting your home you want your home decorated, or maybe, just maybe, if you're a landscaper and it's the off season for you, you don't do snow removal, you want to do holiday decorating, give them a call, 631-957-5106. And the website is liholidaylighting.com. So I wrote a couple of pieces this afternoon. I wrote a short range piece for my website, and I wrote a long range piece for my Patreon subscription site. And the bottom line is that I don't know, Joe, whoever decided that maybe I should just kind of read it directly as far as the quote is concerned. Just give me one moment to pull it up. But, just like I guess Dickens did Christmas a disservice in a way by writing, a snow into, and of course, when he, at that time, it actually used to snow a lot around Christmas time because of the climate that was going on in England in the 1800s, in the early 1800s. But my piece was titled "Spring Continues to Torture the Northeast. When Does It End?" And what I said was, and I shall quote, I'm just pulling it up now, just taking a moment here to bring it up. But the bottom line is, whoever said, it has always amazed me that many folks seem to think that spring is this wonderful time of year. Breaking news, folks, it isn't, and it never has been. Only in the rarest of springs do we get this sort of sing-song of endless sunshine, complete with birds chirping and warm weather that embraces you on a daily basis. This has always been a fairy tale or the stuff of legend. I don't
It's
think
always
you'll.
been a miserable season.
Well,
It's been a miserable season.
particularly in the Northeast, and particularly if you're along the coastal plain. The cold ocean just really ruins it all.
I mean, the only thing that makes spring nice is the contrast between temperatures, let's say in April and May versus what you get in February and March. But as we have seen even in recent years, you can even have some of that chilly white stuff even in April and May.
I know.
It doesn't seem to want to end.
Well, particularly in May,
I,
we actually, at least in another part of the country, Ruthless Goat was on the chat board, or I don't know if he still is, out in Loveland, Colorado. He already has an inch on the ground there. Mostly the streets are wet, but they're getting another round of snow in what seems to be an endless snow season for the the Colorado Rockies from Denver on west. So it just doesn't stop.
it doesn't stop, and one of the rare times when I've actually looked at the on the GFS the seasonal section just to see what it showed for the weeks to come, well out to, let's say, uh, July and August or whatever. And it would appear right now, Joe, that we're going to be stuck in this pattern for at least another couple of weeks, basically for another couple of weeks before we finally fully break out of it and maybe finally see with more consistency or persistency a spell of near or above normal temperatures. Although hopefully it'll start warming up a bit later on in the week and into early next week. But I mean, I'm really talking about nice, warm, spring-like weather on a regular basis. That doesn't seem to be the case for quite some time.
Johnny Quest in northwestern Virginia at the 3,000 foot level got some light snow, got a little bit of light snow last night, and actually sent me some pics from late last week when he woke up to, a little Christmassy look, let us say. And of course, just as soon as you get past sunrise, all of that disappears. The bottom line is looking at the long range, and we'll talk about this a little later on. Uh, this the North Atlantic Oscillation, the NAO, the blockiness of the pattern, higher than normal pressures up in the North Atlantic, the jet stream suppressed way to the south, into the South Atlantic, is not conducive to a long stretch of above normal temperatures. It just isn't. Will we get the
It
odd
is
day?
not.
Yeah. And will we get the odd day here and there? Sure. But even today, we were looking over the weekend and late last week. It looked like maybe we could string together 2 or 3 really warm days early next week. And I did mention, we were talking about this, and I said as long as we don't have any surprise backdoor cold fronts or anything along those lines, well, guess what? We do.
Surprise!
Yes, we do. I should have known better when I saw the models do, trying to show this ridge, trying to build in the east with no complications. And of course, as you get closer and closer, you start to realize that the northern part of the jet stream is just still there, and it's still feeding energy down and moving it in the flow. And the models aren't going to really catch that until they get at least inside the 7-day time frame. So now they're starting to see that, well, maybe it's not going to be a high to the south with a west wind, but a high to the east with a southeast wind. And that is, that's night and day this time of year.
It is. It is. And but if you look at this, and if, I don't know how you looked at it for our area, Joe, but I mean, from now till next Sunday or Monday, I don't have too many days where I have any kind of mention of moisture or precipitation. I'm mentioning that possibly late tomorrow there might be a sprinkle or spritz
Yes.
in one or two places, more or less on instability or whatever.
No,
And
the upper trough coming down tomorrow.
right, right, and then there might be a little something. I'm going to keep Saturday dry. I was thinking that we might see some showers, and again, this is like 5 days out, and we may still do that. But I think Saturday will be dry, but I think maybe later Sunday, another kind of upper level system coming through, maybe possibly setting the stage for a little bit of shower or sprinkle activity late Sunday or on into next Sunday night, and then hopefully drying out for the start of next week on Monday. If you want to look that all the way down
I,
7 days.
I kind of went along the same route. I said that overall for the weekend, for Saturday and Sunday, I kind of envision a partly sunny type of day for both days, and I threw in the chance that there could be the odd shower on either day, mostly inland, widely scattered. Most people won't see them. Um, so I'm on the same page with you with that, and I'm thinking also that Wednesday and Thursday should be two very good days from the standpoint of sunshine, especially Thursday. Temperatures are going to have a little bit of a tough time responding because of the northwest flow that we're in, but we should at least get close to normal by Thursday. I'm thinking upper 60s and lower 70s for highs for Thursday, and maybe 65 to near 70 on Wednesday for most of the area from eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England.
Yes, but look at the temperatures that we're talking about for example. the next few nights. I mean, we're going to be well below seasonal normals. The normal low temperature here in the Hudson Valley is around 50, and yet I'm thinking that in some of the outlying areas of the Hudson Valley tonight, tomorrow night, and possibly even Wednesday night, we might be looking at temperatures down in the low 40s, and maybe even on Wednesday night, perhaps even upper 30s is not out of the question. So, however mild it may get during the daytime hours, the nights are going to be rather chilly indeed.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. The satellite view tonight, as we take a look at what's going on, kind of messy looking. The clouds in the northeast sort of lingered for a good part of the day. They have thinned out somewhat as we move through the evening. You're seeing clouds, and I was in some of those clouds, moving across northern Florida and Georgia and off the southeast coast of the United States, and then running east-northeast from there. There's the low that moved out. This is the remaining frontal boundary that's going to hang around off the southeast coast and then back through the Gulf states, where there's probably going to be some downpours and rain and thunderstorms to deal with over the next couple of days. Meanwhile, take a look up in the Rockies, in the central Rockies. You've got a trough, another one of these troughs dropping down from the northwest into the central Rockies with some cold air. And as a result, we got some snow. And WPC has, and I have the probability set up at 4 inches, now this is just west of Denver, okay, is where most of this snow lines up north-south. So the darkest blue is a 40% chance of at least 4. The light blue is a 70% chance for at least 4. And also that exists up in Western Wyoming. Now, we're not talking about widespread snows in the Rockies, but given the time of year that we're dealing with, now here we are almost to the middle of May, and we're still talking about this stuff. And I popped up the probability of at least 8, Joe. There is a 20 to 30% chance in a couple of areas in those darker green patches that you see in north central Colorado, a 20 to 30% chance of at least 8. So not impossible, I suppose, from the standpoint of a late season snowfall. Not too shabby.
And if I recall correctly, you talk about it, how late it is. I think that it was in 2013 that the upstate area, the Adirondacks, had a big snowstorm during Memorial Day weekend. And that was about 8 years ago in 2013 when that was the case. And that to me was about as late as I ever can remember in this part of the country, hearing the word snow, and not just hearing a few flurries, but actually hearing about a significant, or if not a downright substantial snowfall, again, up in the high terrain of the Adirondacks. And that was, again, that's, well, it seems like only a few years ago, but 2013, it's 8 years ago. Amazing.
I know, it is amazing. I was looking at the other day, just along those lines, by the way. I started doing YouTube videos, I think back around 2015 or so, but they were sporadic. Between this show and Weather in 5 and other stuff that I've done along the way, I've done 2,600 videos. There were 2,600 videos in my video library. I mean, I'm on automatic pilot every day when I do this sort of stuff. I was astounded to see that number. I mean, I've done more shows than Ed Sullivan.
Well, you remember when we used to work at news gathering agencies and they were all on tape.
Oh, is that what we call them now? Is that the politically correct term for them? News gathering agencies?
Yeah,
okay,
well,
I'll go with that.
Well, and they put the evening news or the morning show on a small tape, and you put it on a shelf, and you go to the edit bay or whatever, and there'd be all of these tapes or whatever like that. What you've done is you basically have pretty much filled an entire edit bay, and maybe even needed an extra one.
Exactly. Let me before we'll go back to the match. We'll start looking at the severe weather, but let me just bring up a couple of things here. Robert Russo hitting super chat tonight. Thank you so much, Robert. Most appreciated. And the chairman, Scott Briller, hit super chat earlier. He is not, I think he left the chat board because today is his birthday. And his mom, Mother Briller, is taking Scott out to dinner. I'm guessing Chinese food because I know that's his thing. So happy birthday, Scott. I hope you enjoyed your day and enjoy your night and enjoy your dinner and all the other things that go with it.
That's interesting because I visited my mom in the Bronx on Saturday, and what did we have? We had Chinese food too. That seems to be the running menu for these kind of events, birthdays and Mother's Day. So
Yeah, I'm just gonna
happy
tell.
birthday to Scott.
Yeah, Chinese food is not my thing. It's now if it's there, if I'm at someone, if I'm over somebody's house, which is rare, but if I'm over someone's house and we're having Chinese food for dinner, yeah, I'll certainly eat it. But uh, you will never hear from these lips. I'm in the mood for Chinese food. Let's order out. It's not something that I would do. I actually don't order out hardly ever at all. Uh, I even occasionally will make my own pizza. So, but that's me. Back to snow. We should mention Matt Cave reminded me. Thank you, Matt. That I'm pulling up the snow analysis from this morning, Joe. This is in northern Pennsylvania and southern New York, where we had snow last night. Some areas there uh, picking up several inches of wet snow. I'm sure there must have been some higher elevation spot that might have gotten 4 or 5, but a fairly large area of a coating to a couple of inches. And really, that wasn't done with very much. I mean, relatively speaking, for the time of year, there was obviously enough cold air, and certainly cold air aloft that was able to mix down to the ground with a little bit of intensity, but uh, still not too shabby for May 10th to see the snowfall like this in parts of the Northeast.
Yes, and just a point of reference, last year, New York City, on the 9th of May had snow, a touch of it, and back in 1977, on May the 9th, we also had a trace of snow in New York, and we also had, I think, something like a foot of snow up in the Catskill regions around the Mohonk Mountain House, just to the west of New Paltz. They were up at about an elevation of about 1,500 feet, and they got like a foot of snow, a tremendous amount of snow for such a late time of the year. So I guess, if everything falls into place, and we've certainly seen that in portions of Western New York and Pennsylvania the last 24 hours, yes, it is still possible that you could see the white stuff out there. Couldn't get any flakes in March and even April, but here we are in May, and look at what we're doing. We're talking about snow,
Yep.
believe it or not.
Yep. The snowfall analysis in the West, I brought this is overnight and early this morning, so it's not counting what's going on now, which is more snow. So it's all basically west of Route 20 of Interstate 25, which cuts through Denver and runs south to north through Colorado. So it's all west of 25 and overnight, and also west of Boulder, where we saw an area of 4 inches plus. So anything that you see in the forecast, this is on top of what is already fallen, and that snow shield extends northeastward to between Cheyenne, which got about an inch, and Laramie, which was just outside the snowfall zone. And with respect to watches and warnings that are up, there are a few counties with winter storm warnings. You can see them here in the pink color or salmon color, whichever, in north central Colorado, all to the west of Denver, and also in southeastern Wyoming. I'm just going to pull up Denver's Weather Service office really quick. No, naturally, I pulled up Boulder. But you can see where the winter storm warnings are. So Denver is not in it. Neither is Boulder. Neither is Fort Collins. It's all just to the west of there, the west and north of there, and then extending northward up into Wyoming. Denver right now is light rain and 43 I believe that's at the airport, And I think I saw Ruthless Goat saying where he was up in Loveland, it was 36 with some snow. And of course, once it goes into the overnight hours, the temperatures will fall, and they'll wind up seeing some accumulation. Meanwhile, the UCAR National Radar is still down, and they're looking for another source. So we're going to use Tornado HQ's severe weather map, which tonight shows one severe thunderstorm warning working at the moment at 7:51. That's to the north of Charlotte. You've got a couple of severe thunderstorms west of Dallas and well west of San Antonio. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 severe thunderstorm warnings working there. A little bit of scattered precip in southern Indiana into northern Kentucky, northwestern Tennessee, right along the St. Louis, Illinois state line. I'm sorry, the Missouri, Illinois state line, and also up in northern Illinois, northern Indiana. And of course, if you look at the radar out in the west, the radar is actually fairly impressive with precip in the eastern half of Colorado. So that's that precip for tonight and tomorrow. That's going to bring more of the white stuff.
Johnny Quest mentions on the chat board, Joe, 26 volcanoes are in erupting. I guess are in the process of erupting, or are erupting. So the question is, of all of the SO2 in the air is beginning to have an effect on the temperatures on the Earth. I would question that, Johnny, as to, yeah, there may be 26 volcanoes, but as we have mentioned on more than one occasion, you really need a very potent eruption to send an aerosol cloud or a cloud of ash and dust high into the stratosphere. I'm talking about 10 to 20 miles above the Earth's surface to have much of an effect on the atmosphere. If you have a lot of smaller eruptions that are confining the material, that volcanic material, to, let's say, 5 or 10 miles above the Earth, that's not going to make it. That's not going to cut it. That's not going to do anything to changing the overall condition across the northern hemisphere in terms of weather. You could have a lot of eruptions, but if they're small eruptions and they don't go very, very high up in the atmosphere, that's not going to really have any effect. But if you have one gigantic blast, like a Pinatubo, for example, or a Krakatoa, or the Tambora volcano, which led to the year without a summer in 1816, that'll do it. But the fact that we have so many volcanic eruptions occurring now, not necessarily meaning that we're going to see any kind of changes in the atmospheric conditions in the coming weeks or months. So we'll keep an eye on it, but at least that's my opinion, Joe.
Yep, agreed. Severe weather tonight. The Storm Prediction Center has 3 smallish areas of slight risk, and as of 7:53 Eastern Time, 2 severe thunderstorm watches that are in play. One in eastern North Carolina, and the other in Texas, west of San Antonio, up in the Del Rio area, and that's inside a slight to enhanced risk in that zone. Small area of slight risk in northeast Texas, and then of course the slight risk in the severe thunderstorm watch zone that we see in eastern North Carolina. So that is for tonight. The Storm Prediction Center for tomorrow, Tuesday into Wednesday, has a marginal risk across the Gulf states, the lower Gulf states from Texas, covers a good portion of the state of Texas and all of Louisiana, but it's mainly from central Mississippi and central Alabama and south central Georgia, southern Georgia, and the Florida Panhandle into northern Florida, inside that marginal risk. Probably may wind up seeing a small area of slight risk. They also have general thunderstorms indicated well up into upstate New York, northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, and Maine. And that's probably with that upper trough that's dropping southward. And then you could also see general thunderstorms running from Texas right up the Rockies all the way up to Montana and beyond. But our area, the most of the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, not in no thunderstorms being forecast, nothing across the Great Lakes or Ohio Valley or on up into the upper Mississippi Valley. And no severe weather is being indicated by SPC for the rest of the week. They don't have any areas specified, so maybe some quiet time here after we get through tonight, and we'll see what happens for tomorrow. I think this could get juiced up a little bit along the Gulf Coast tomorrow. That we might see a couple of slight risk areas pop up.
Keith James II is mentioning on the chat board a couple of times, is the space launch from Virginia taking place at 8 this evening. Now, what this is, they're going to send, they being NASA, from their Wallops Island facility, they're going to be sending up not a big rocket, it's a Nike Tomahawk four-stage sounding rocket that's going to go about 200 miles up into space and release a package which contains chemicals which are supposed to color the sky. However, I think somebody forgot to tell NASA that the time that they're doing this launch, Joe, coincides very closely with sunset. And if they do indeed do it tonight, I don't think this launch is going to be I mean, from here in the New York area, I know that some have been proclaiming that we'd be able to see the actual rocket, but I think the skies are going to be much too bright to see both the launch and also this ion cloud of barium that's going to cause a greenish, changing to purplish cloud appear in the sky, because again, it's happening so closely to sunset. However, for Keith James and also for all of the rest of you, what I can do is
you can call NASA up and tell
remember,
them to delay it, at least until after the show is over.
Well, they have a 40-minute window for launch, but I think what we're going to do, Joe, is in a couple of minutes, I'll go and I'll ask you to share the screen, and I'm watching right now. I'm monitoring. They have a camera at Wallops Island, and I can clearly see on the
you have
camera
sharing
shot the rocket.
You have sharing capability. You can go ahead and do it.
All right.
And by the way,
here,
I did. Jason Barry said, "Where did the Chinese space junk land? It landed in the Indian Ocean." So that's
near the Maldives.
Yeah.
Whatever. So
the Maldives.
So not in Camden. It didn't happen. It didn't happen in Camden, New Jersey.
No, it didn't happen over Gracie Mansion in New York City. No, I saw that was a suggestion on the chat board. But you have sharing capability, so you can flip whenever you'd like.
Okay, well I just did, and there you see the rocket. Again, it's a small rocket. It's on the launch pad, and it's due to go at 8:04. So what is that? It's that's only 6 minutes from now. So we'll all get a chance to see this is a first for Joe and Joe.
Yes.
I don't think we ever covered a space launch before.
But
that's owing
T-minus 6 minutes and counting.
This is all dependent on whether or not well, I see there aren't too many clouds in the area. It's been on the ground for the last couple of nights because of rather robust upper level winds. And Joe, I looked at the upper level winds a little while ago. I thought they were just as robust or just as strong over Wallops Island tonight as they were the last couple of nights, which leads one to wonder whether or not we're actually going to see this launch tonight. But if it does happen, you'll see it because we're covering it right here on Joe and Joe while we're talking about the weather.
By the way, I mentioned this to you once before, so I'll bring it up again. If you have BBC America on your cable service or streaming service, if you have BBC America, I don't know if they do it every Saturday morning. Actually, when they have done it, it's been on Sunday morning. So during the day during Saturday, through Saturday night into Sunday morning, it's pretty much David Attenborough and Planet Earth, one show after another, and I personally love watching it because I find he's very relaxing, and those shows are incredibly well produced and well edited. But on some Sunday mornings, they have been replaying the CBS News coverage of the Apollo space launches. The last one I saw was a couple of weeks ago. They were replaying the landing of Apollo 11 on the moon. And it was, I mean, I saw it as a kid, but I really never saw the news coverage. Remember, in those days, you either watched the news when it came on the air or you didn't watch it at all. Anyway, All that stuff is there on BBC America. They do show it every so often, and it's a fascinating um, thing to see. Being that you and I watched it as kids, and now to see it as two crotchety old men. But if you folks on the chat board, young and not so young, haven't seen it, and you get a chance, that's BBC America. Just check the listings because they do every once in a while. They do. They have brought it. They have brought those Apollo broadcasts up. What are we up to? How much time did I eat with that soliloquy?
Well, according to Dennis Cassia, the launch countdown is currently on hold. I think it's at T minus 3 minutes and 41 seconds and hold. I mean, you could see the clock running in the lower left. That's the actual time. That's on my view right now. That's 0 hours 1 minute 13 seconds. So it's 8:01 and 13 seconds. That's Greenwich time actually. But the as you can see now in the upper right hand corner, there's T minus 3:41. I guess once again the upper level winds are keeping that rocket where it is, and they'll continue to analyze whether or not they will go. And as I said, they have a 40-minute launch window. So Joe, they have until I believe 8:43 Eastern time to get that thing off the ground. Otherwise, it's another scrub, and they'll try again tomorrow night.
What? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I mean, what's the 40-minute window going to make a difference in terms of the winds? It's not like they're going to suddenly drop off in 40 minutes.
Well, the 40-minute hold, I would presume, is more for the kind of weather pattern where if it's cloudy or mainly cloudy, they hope for a clearing over a span of 40 minutes, or also if there's a technical problem. And let me assure you, after I've been watching these sounding rockets lift off from Wallops Island for more years than I care to remember, and they always seem to have something like maybe a screw loose or a connection that they have to connect, and they need a few extra minutes to do that.
Where's the Scotch tape? Where's the Scotch tape?
Where's the duct tape?
Yes. Ruthless Goat hit super chat tonight. Thank you, sir. Most appreciated. You could still grill your. I saw your post, by the way, on the rib steaks you bought. Good the Colorado ribeyes. Good catch at a very good price. Makes total sense to check out the stuff that's getting close to the date because it's steaks and it doesn't make a big difference. If you get them closer to the date and they're aged a little bit, they're actually a little bit better. So good hit for you. Just checking here. Matt K. Was it Matt K that said? I'm going to run back on the chat. That you don't have SpaceX there, so this is really like the only exciting thing you get to do in New Jersey. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, here we're still on a hold. Joe? Joe, are you there? Joe Rayo. Hello, Mr. Rayo, where are you? I'm not hearing you. Okay, now he's putting his headsets back on. Can you hear me? Are you hearing me?
What I was trying to do is I was trying to see if I could hear what they were saying on the Wallops thing, but they basically have just said what we've been saying, that the launch is being held because of high level winds. So,
all right, so here's what
can I tell you?
So here's what we'll do. Give me the screen back. You keep an eye on it. If they start the countdown again, just interrupt me, and we'll come back to it. So we'll just
Will do.
Okay. So in the meantime, just want to check out WPC's 7-day rainfall here, and where is it? Sorry. There we go. Much of the Northeast, northern Maine is getting a half to 3/4 of an inch, but much of central and southern New England down into the northern mid-Atlantic states really not going to see much in the way of total precip, all less than 1/4 of an inch, and in some places less than a tenth of an inch, and even a few places getting nothing. In the meantime, you can see what's going on with that frontal boundary off the southeast coast and then running across the northern part of the Gulf of Mexico. So to the north of that, with rain and thunderstorms, patchy areas of 3+ inches of rain forecast over the next 7 days from Texas into Mississippi, with 1.5 inch rainfalls forecasted in central and southern Alabama and into parts of northwest Georgia. Also, a precip extending on the order of about 3/4 of an inch to an inch up through the southern plains and continuing northward into Kansas and then westward into Colorado. And obviously, a lot of that is going to be in the form of snow, and also continuing on up into Wyoming and Montana. Most of the west and even the Pacific Northwest is bone dry, either at nothing or at most a tenth of an inch of precip over the next 7 days. So just going to bring up the European here because I just want to illustrate what the issue is. We were just mentioning earlier how the southern part of the jet stream is just so way south, and you have an upper low. This was yesterday's map, by the way. You have an upper low sitting between Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. You have another upper low near James Bay. So, if you just sort of follow the flow, we're getting our air being fed down from Canada. And with the jet so far to the south, it just really can't warm up. Not again, in between weather systems as they pull out, you could get that odd day where temperatures will try to warm up. But as long as that northern jet remains such a dominant force, it's going to be tough to do. The European swings this James Bay upper low southeastward. This is the trough that's moving through for tomorrow. Doesn't look like it has as much punch as the one, say, on Saturday that produced the waterspout in Barnegat Bay. Then once that goes out, we'll see improvement. But again, look at the southern part of the jet here. It is still running rather strong through the southeastern part of the United States and offshore. And again, that's takes a short wave out underneath us with rain that develops in the Gulf states, can't move up the eastern seaboard because everything's kind of squashed. Now, eventually, these troughs do pull out. The European tries to build a ridge in the Great Lakes and on up into Canada by later next week. And has a little bit of troughing there right over the northeast down into the northern mid-Atlantic states, which is, again, that's one of the problems of spring, making, you'll see areas all around you being very warm and you're sitting in clouds and showers and temperatures that are in the 60s. The GFS, on the other hand, has a much more vigorous trough of the same time frame that comes out of this. And you can see it here. It's a fairly wrapped up upper low that it brings down from central Canada and strengthens it as it swings through the Great Lakes and into the Northeast. So this is an entirely different and let's call it a more dire solution. Maybe dire is too strong a word, but it is certainly kind of matches up with the pattern that we have with that negative North Atlantic oscillation in play. This would mean not only no warm up, but you have to wonder whether you wind up with perhaps some severe weather risk for the middle part of next week. That's a long range forecast problem. I'm just kind of mentioning it here at the moment. Just throwing it out there. If we wind up with something that vigorous.
I should also point out, Joe, that Climate Prediction Center is saying that from 6 to 10 days to 8 to 14 days, they're going for probabilities of above normal in our part of the country and also drier than normal for our part of the country as well. So
let me just
looking at something different.
Yeah, Ken Musillo hitting the super chat tonight. Thank you very much, Ken. Most appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, that's a little odd considering the pattern that we're in. That they would do that. I mean, they do it off the 0Z stuff, so I didn't really even get a chance to look at the 0Z ensembles and all the rest of it. So maybe back last night, still trying to show a ridge building into the eastern part of the United States next week for at least a few days. The day models today kind of went away from that. So we'll have to see what happens in the next couple of days if the model starts swinging back and forth with regards to this. Certainly, this run of the GFS was not conducive to above normal temperatures. But no matter. The GFS on the surface, you can see that for tomorrow, it's just got this weak upper trough that sort of drops through the northeast with some sprinkles scattered around. But overall, it's just probably going to be some early sun and then developing clouds. You see the snow in Colorado and Wyoming as low pressure starts to develop along the Gulf states and that east-west band of showers and storms in Texas and also across Mississippi and Alabama. So this looks like, these could certainly be thunderstorms that'll produce heavy rain. Look at the big 1032 high sitting in Wisconsin and the low that's in eastern Maine. Of course, all that rain in the Gulf states would try and come up the eastern seaboard were it not for the fact that the upper air is so suppressive. So the rains will move into the southeast, into the Carolinas, maybe reaching up to the Virginia state line, but then that high acts as suppresses it all to the south and east. So meanwhile, Wednesday and Thursday, as we said, looked like two very nice days with the high moving in, albeit on the cool side. These upper air disturbances, Joe, on Friday, for example, you've got the GFS showing a few spits of rain in parts of upstate New York and in western PA, getting maybe into the Catskills by Friday evening. Then they sort of disappear, and then they pop up again Saturday afternoon and evening, inland areas, and then they disappear, and then they do it again on Sunday. Sunday looks like it's a little bit more widespread. I don't know, it looks a little overdone to me, but I figured let me just throw them into the forecast. And then, of course, you're finally going to get some energy from the west to come through with some rain maybe on Monday. This is the big difference from, the models building a big ridge into the eastern part of the United States. And then we've got another chilly high coming down from Canada into the Great Lakes and eventually spreading into the Northeast later next week with whatever big upper low develops if the GFS winds up being correct.
Yep, and as we've said before with the GFS, they've been replacing the GFS every few months, it would seem. You really can't get a
handle on
good
it.
handle.
Yeah, you can't get
on what on some of the the problems with the model, and all of a sudden they're kicking that model out and bringing a brand new one in. So I don't know, but we'll hopefully we will get into a milding pattern soon. Although, as you and I both said, what the models are suggesting now is that doesn't seem quite right. At least anything that's going to be prolonged, let's say, for a number of days.
Okay, so they're still on hold?
Yes, they are.
All right, so while they're on hold, let us play a special Briller Jeopardy for his birthday, Scott Briller's birthday. And the category is going to be, well, this is personal to the chairman, so this might be a little tough. However, you're going to be trying for this, Joe. And by the way, we got 49 likes so far, which isn't too shabby. So if somebody somebody decided to take it down to 48. But if you can nudge it up to maybe 50, back up to 49. If you can nudge it up to 50, that would be wonderful. And Joe and I appreciate it. Okay, we got the $50 up there. Okay, so you're ready? The chairman's favorite TV shows. Name what year these shows debuted, and you must be correct within 2 years in order to get credit for it. Okay? Are you ready?
I'm all set.
Okay. So starting with number 10, Columbo.
Columbo. Let me think for just a moment. If I have another question, Columbo, I would. How about 1974?
Oh, Joe, you blew that out of the park.
That.
Yeah, 1968.
68.
Yes.
Wow.
What
He's
did it was
he's older than I thought he
NBC
was.
had those Sunday mysteries. What did they call that? That 90-minute time they had a special name for it. The
I
NBC
don't know,
Sunday, yeah, mystery thing. Okay. Number 9 is All in the Family.
1971.
Correct. Number 8, Room 222.
Oh, Room 222. You know why it has a special place in my heart? I had a
Karen
I had a
Valentine for
personal.
one.
Yes, yes, yes. And my wife won't mind my saying this, that Karen Valentine was the it girl if you were in high school or junior high school back then.
Yep.
She was what? She was a substitute teacher or a
Yes.
anyway, 1960. Well, wait a minute. I'll say 1968.
You're good. 1969, so you got it within 2.
Okay.
The original Lost in Space.
I believe that was 1965.
That is correct. Very good. Number 6 is Dallas.
You bibble-headed booby. Uh, Dallas. Okay. That. How about 19? Well, I remember 1980 was the Who Shot JR controversy. How about? I want to say either 78 or 79. What the hell? I'll say 79.
Had you said 78, you would have been correct on the nose, but it's within 2. You jabbering Judas. You hit it. Number 5 is Emergency.
Emergency. That was 19. Let's see, 1970. How about 1970? That was with Ronnie Troop. 1971.
Still within 2. 1972 is correct. Number 4, The Mary Tyler Moore Show.
19, 1970.
That is correct on the nose. Number 3, Dark Shadows, which you can watch every episode of Dark Shadows is on Pluto TV. You can download the Pluto app to your iPad or to your uh, Android tablet and watch every episode of Dark Shadows, all 1,226 of them.
1968.
1966 was the debut.
I
Okay, so you
Boy,
got,
went that back that far?
yes.
That's pretty interesting.
So it's within 2, so you're still good. In number 2, a series from the series Lost.
Oh God. I never watched that show, and I'm going to take just a wild. I'll take a wild shot in the dark and say 2012.
You know what? I'm actually quite shocked because it's kind of made me realize that time might be going by faster than I think. Lost was 2004. I didn't
Oh,
realize
good
it was
Lord.
that far back. I mean, I think I watched some
I didn't.
episodes of it, but I don't remember it being that far back in 2004, but maybe it was. And number
Uh,
1,
Silvio Balzano just posted the launch has been scrubbed.
oh,
So
so when they found out that we were airing it, they just said no.
Black Brand Black Brand 12 launch scrubbed due to high upper level winds. Next launch attempt no earlier than 8:05 Tuesday, May 11th. That's tomorrow night, Joe. So
All right,
maybe
so we'll
on
try it again
TV
tomorrow.
tomorrow night.
Of course, they got
Yes,
that they
yes.
got that big upper trough going by tomorrow evening. So what do you think the winds are going to be aloft then?
I I don't think they're going to go tomorrow night either.
Yeah. All right, so
Oh well.
the number 1 on his list is Seinfeld.
Let's see. Seinfeld went off the air in 98. I think it was 19. I think Seinfeld came on in 1992.
Ah, within three, 1989.
89. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So like,
I think back then they were actually, I think back then it was actually called the Seinfeld Chronicles. So,
yes.
oh well.
Just looking at, on the list of all these shows, I've seen them all. Lost, I've seen a few episodes of, and I got bored with it. Columbo, my grandmother was a huge fan of Columbo. Um, all in the Family, Room 222, sporadically saw some episodes. Of course, Lost in Space. I was a Dallas fan. Wasn't a big fan of Emergency. Wasn't my type of show. The Mary Tyler Moore Show, I've seen every episode. Dark Shadows, the 1966 to 1971 Gothic soap opera that aired on ABC at 4 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Time. I have seen all 1,226 episodes multiple times. Then there's Lost, and Seinfeld was kind of, it was an in and out show for me. I watched it more toward the end, the last 3 or 4 years than the first 4 or 5 years. So I've seen most of the second half. Uh, if you take the run of the show and cut it in half, I've seen most of the second half of that than the first half.
Same here with Seinfeld. I did not get become a big fan until literally the last couple of years. At News 12 Westchester, I remember that literally the entire control room was jammed into the green room where the TV was, and we all were watching, uh, the final, not the final episode, but I mean the final year or two. It had become a thing to watch Seinfeld on Thursday nights on NBC. And then after it went off, that's when I caught up with the series when it went into syndication, and I learned a lot about who these various characters were by watching the show in syndication. So, like you, I got to know more of it after it went off, nationally. But it is a great show.
Yeah. I don't watch much television anymore, so I couldn't tell you one series from another. So I occasionally will go back and, obviously watching Me TV, and I was watching, and then TV Land and all those channels. I feel more at home watching those shows than I do watching the stuff that some of the stuff that's on today. But that's me. So shall we call it a night?
I guess we should, and we'll be back tomorrow night. Maybe with a launch, maybe not, but regardless, everything you need to know about weather, right here on the Joe and Joe Show. And the Joe and Joe Show is brought to you each and every night by.
Oh, you. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. 631-756-1125. Mulch is what they got, and they make it there, and they got the best prices in town. So head over there, supporting a local business. I'm sorry, omnitruevalue.com is the website. I'm jumping ahead to Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs, whether you want your home decorated or maybe you want to do this as a business. They're at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, not too far from Omni, by the way. 631-957-5106, and the website is liholidaylighting.com. Just want to say a special, again, happy birthday to Scott, the chairman, Scott Briller, out enjoying dinner with his mom tonight. Thank you, Scott, also for the super chat hit, as well as super chat hits tonight from Ken Musillo, Robert, the Ruthless Goat, watching from Loveland, Colorado, hitting super chat tonight. Robert Russo, also hitting super chat tonight with a nice big cup of coffee there for you and I to get on our downtime. So thanks for the super chat hit, folks. And Joe and I will see you tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern Time, and we'll have the NASA launch as well.
We'll see. We'll hope.
Yes, I'm betting that upper trough's going to scrub it. It's hard for me to imagine, that the winds aloft are going to be lower tomorrow night than they are tonight. But,
Absolutely.
all right.
That's probably going to be the case.
but they'll get around to it.
Yep, eventually. All right. Night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.